I'm here with my boy, Thetexasboy91, one of the OGs of Madden YouTube, man. He's planning on making a comeback. Don't want to spoil anything. I'll save that for the end of the interview. But say what's up, man. How you doing?
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Texas, and I'm here.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you, man. Oh, yeah. So
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I want to hop on anybody else's thing but yours.
Always ready to hop on, give great interviews, you know what I'm saying? I want to preview the season with, obviously he's a Panthers fan, if you guys didn't know. So we're going to ask, what's the biggest reason your team didn't perform better last season?
That's a good question. There's a lot of different reasons. I could blame injuries. I could blame coaching. I could blame a lot of reasons. The biggest reason is going to be the guy that's no longer there, he who shall not be named, the con artist himself, Matt Rule. That is the main reason. And it doesn't even really go back to like coaching. It goes back to the decisions that he made when he first got hired. And that's what basically affected them winning last year, was when he got hired back in 2020.
You want to elaborate on those decisions?
Yeah, I can elaborate on the decisions. It's the fact that he wanted Teddy Bridgewater. No, so the first thing, his first coaching move was to bring obviously all his coaching staff from college.
Okay.
So there was not an NFL coach on his roster when he first got to Carolina. None. It was all college coaches. And then he brings on Joe Brady, who's the only guy that had NFL experience when he coached the Saints before he went back to LSU to coach down there, to be his offensive coordinator. And then that basically set the ball rolling for him to pick up Teddy Bridgewater, a quarterback who we all knew wasn't a starter. He's a good backup, not somebody you want as a starter. And then the draft comes, and then because he has nobody that has NFL experience, he just drafts a bunch of defensive players.
Okay.
No offensive players, and yeah, that was basically the end of that was like that set the franchise back right there. That's why they're not winning right now.
So you don't think it was a personnel issue? You think it was more so of a coaching or bad coaching?
Yeah, it was so it was bad coaching, which led to bad personnel.
Okay.
So like the players that they drafted should not be in the league, in my opinion. Like Shi Smith is not an NFL caliber wide receiver yet. He's their number 3, not no more, but he was number 3 for a while. Same thing with running backs. They just couldn't find somebody to replace McCaffrey and free as a pickup besides Donta Foreman, who was obvious. Yeah, he was really good, but like in terms of drafting, like Chuba Hubbard, awful.
Yeah, he's been bad.
It was Elijah Holyfield, awful. Like there's a bunch of these guys that just were just like, why are they on the team?
Okay, so you know what? Let's spin to a positive note. Next question. Yeah. I'm going to ask, what's the best addition your team made in the offseason?
Best addition they made in the offseason has to be Jim Caldwell as the offensive quarterbacks coach.
Okay.
So controversial take. I don't think Frank Wright's a good head coach. I'm going to say it. I don't think he's a good head coach.
What? No, that's crazy.
He's resting on the laurels of what he did with Carson Wentz,
yes,
which is amazing, but we all seem to think that's Doug Peterson because he's doing amazing down there in Jacksonville. So I want to give the credit to Doug Peterson and not Frank Wright.
We can kind of agree on that. Maybe he's not the best head coach, but he's a good offensive coordinator. Like if he was your OC, you guys would be cooking.
Yeah, cause you got experience, so you know exactly what he did. But I can't discredit. Like I think him and Peterson worked well together, and I think separately we've seen their flaws.
I agree.
And so I don't want to say he's a good coach. We saw what he did in Indianapolis. Yeah. Now, obviously, it wasn't his fault with Andrew Luck retiring on him, and he had to basically bandage that together with a bunch of like Phillip Rivers, end of his career. With Wentz, with Matt Ryan, but just those decisions alone, we all looked at those quarterbacks and why? That's what you want? That's the decision that you made, which is what ultimately got him fired in the end, because those were the guys that he wanted on his roster.
You think it was his decision? I feel like Jim Irsay had a lot of say, no pun intended. Remember when Carson Wentz, they lost that last game against Jacksonville, and he sent them off. They blamed it on him because they lost and they didn't make the playoffs. I don't know, man. I feel like Jim Irsay had a lot more to do with the quarterback decisions than Frank Wright.
I feel like he might have kind of like the Washington, the old owners for the Washington football team, like where Dan Snyder would just have a lot to say who he wanted at quarterback. But I feel like if you knew Carson Wentz was this, like he should have fought harder to I don't want this guy on my team. Like, that's what it should have come down to. You're the coach, and obviously the owner makes the decisions, but you should be willing to put your job on the line to not bring somebody in you don't think's that good.
Okay.
fight back. Like, there's a little bit more, but I digress from my point. So I think Caldwell's a better coach because I think he's going to be better to help mentor the young quarterback that they just drafted. So I think that is the best signing that they did this offseason. Not the draft, not trading up for Bryce Young, because I'm not that high on Bryce Young. We can get into that later. But just the quarterback coach to be able to improve him, because Jim Caldwell's resume speaks for itself. He improved Peyton Manning. And for those that say he's Peyton Manning hockey, he improved Peyton Manning, go look at his season before he got there and after he got there. And it was a noticeable difference. And then he also made Matt Stafford really good. And Jim Caldwell should still be the head coach of the Detroit Lions if they didn't want to bring in the another con artist to be their head coach.
Right? Oh God.
So
no, I agree. I agree with most of that, almost all of that. So hey, next question. As it currently stands, your team has, just looked this up, they have plus 350 odds, or no, plus 360 to win the division. Should we take that bet?
Plus 360. So I'm not that high on them just this season because I don't see where they're going to be able to stop anybody on defense and where they're going to be able to score points on offense. Really? So that's where it comes to. Yeah, I just like their defense. They only have one pass rusher, albeit Brian Burns is really good, but they don't really have somebody to pair next to him. Son Reddick should still be there, but that's also, again, something that the old regime messed up on. And the Eagles benefited from it greatly.
Thank you. No.
Yeah. Defensively, like their defensive backs are one's coming back off of an Achilles tear, Dante Jackson. The other one, J.C. Horn, is injury prone. I don't really know what he can do to make himself stay healthy, but the last 2 seasons he's been out for an extended period of time. So, and their other two cornerbacks aren't that good. With the guy they just the guy they just traded for last season, C.J. Henderson, and then Keith Taylor. They're not great. Jeremy Chinn's supposed to play more inside the box, but they also didn't got Von Bell, who's more of a nickel / box linebacker than he is a safety. So I don't really see what they're trying to do. I know E.J. Evero likes to blitz a lot, so maybe they can create turnovers off those, but those are also likely to get you burnt if you don't got the people on the back end or in the front 7 to get to the quarterback in time. So I don't think their defense is going to be outstanding this year, and their offense has to be the one that carries it, and they don't really have anybody on the team that I would say is threatening to blow the top off the defense.
I don't know, man. We're almost 8 minutes in and you haven't mentioned Miles Sanders, big addition from the Eagles.
Yeah, it's a running back, right? I feel like running backs get a bad rap. I love running back position. I wish they would get paid a lot more money, but again, running backs only do so much. He's not Saquon Barkley. And if this team had Saquon Barkley, I still don't think they put up as much points.
No, I didn't say Saquon, but he can take. He has good acceleration. He can break one loose every now and then.
Yeah, teams will live with that. Teams will live with your running back getting 15, 20 yards. They're not going to live with you getting a 30-yard bomb over their head. So they're going to have to pick one of their poisons.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, you have Laviska at wide receiver. You have
who can't stay healthy. Who's 33.
He's very old, but he can be a nice possession. He can help move the chains on third down.
I'm cool with that.
Who's your go-to at wide receiver? Who's
Bryce Young? We don't have a go-to. That's the thing. We don't have a go-to. They traded their go-to to the Bears. They traded DJ Moore to get Bryce Young, and because of that trade, I don't really see them being able to move the ball. Bryce Young's incredibly accurate, so they could theoretically find a way to get down the field with just a 10-13 play drives, but those aren't really sustainable in the league. They're they don't have a big play option. They can't score one play.
Interesting. So
unless somebody just blows their coverage.
That's the biggest weakness. You need a big threat, deep threat.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to be able to get one because if they have a bad record this year, the guy next year is going to go number 1 overall. So they're not going to be able to get another big play receiver at all this season, even if they're not that good.
So you think do not take the bet, you guys? That was the 3rd best odds in the NFC South.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think I'm high on the Falcons and Saints just because of continuity and this organization just seems to be building in the right direction. The Falcons seem to want to basically prop up their young quarterback with the decisions they made with their offense. They got a great tight end. They have a great wide receiver. They have a great running back. And so Ritter can now see if he's actually good because he has threats out there. Bryce Young's going out there throwing the ball to a former NFL All-Pro receiver and to a journeyman with DJ Chark who can push the ball down the field, but again, he's just kind of that go guy. He's not a guy that's going to be able to take a quick slant to the house because he's not that shifty.
Okay, got you. All right.
And then the Saints on the other end, defense always amazing. Always, yes. They never. I don't know how they haven't fallen off. They're always amazing.
Cameron Jordan has a lot to him and Demario Davis. Those two staples in the front 7 is huge.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous. Like I'm jealous of like what they're able to do and find these players in later drafts and make them really, really good. And then on offense, they got a quarterback that we all know is risk averse, so they're not going to turn the ball over as much. Yeah, he doesn't. And they got Chris Olave, who's a really good receiver. If Michael Thomas comes back healthy, I don't know how he's going to be effective, but he's still like a nice number 2 at this point. Mm-hmm. And then you got the beast himself, Taysom Hill, out there. So I think the Saints and Falcons are more likely to win the division than the Panthers are this year.
Okay. I love that take. That's a real honest, unbiased take. So for the next question, your over-under is 7.5. Would you go over or under?
7.5 out of 17 games. I'm inclined to go under just because I saw what the Dolphins did, and they have a better offense and a better defense than the Panthers did. They're also in like a tougher division, people would say. Yeah. But the Dolphins won like 8 games last season?
No, they won. They won more.
They won 8 or 9. I don't think they won that many games last year. I think they won like 9 games last season. But Tua was out a lot of those games.
Right. If he stays in, they easily win 10, 11.
Yeah, they easily win 10. But like Bryce Young has that Tua effect where he's 5'9", 180 pounds. Like they can say he's 205, but he's not 205. So, like, I'm just looking at it like, if he gets hit, is he going to be concussed? If he's going to be concussed, he's going to miss some times. And so, the line's really good. The line, if they can stay healthy this year, which is a big if, because they lost their right guard last season to a torn ACL, Austin Corbett, who was really good. But they have good right tackle. Ike Ekwandu's growing at left tackle. And so, I'm just looking at it like, if they can stay healthy, can Bryce Young stay upright, they can win some games. But if he gets hit, what's that going to look like? What if he gets hit by Myles Garrett? Like, what's that, bro? Like, he's not big.
My counterpoint to that, though, you guys you bought in Hayden Hurst, who's a really solid tight end, good blocker.
Yeah.
What if the run game actually does what you guys are not expecting? You know, it overperforms. And if Bryce Young gets hurt, you have Andy Dalton, who's a solid starter, can come in, win some games. I don't know, man. I feel like you guys can still, keep the ship going, even in the case of an injury.
See, I would like to think that too, but nothing in their history has shown me that the backup quarterback's going to do anything. Because since Cam's gotten there, the backup quarterback has never done anything to sustain long wins. And so I want to have faith because they have a plan. They just don't have an offense built around the team. I feel like a backup quarterback in Cincinnati would do well. Obviously not going to be like Joe Burrow and go crazy and win a bunch of games they should be winning. Mm-hmm. But because the weapons they got, they can at least be competitive. The Panthers, if they go to their backup quarterback, you got an old quarterback throwing to an old receiver.
That's true. That's true.
And and then the run game threat is gone at that point because play action is not going to be something that Andy Dalton can do successfully if he's not threatening to leave the pocket himself because that's not his game. So I want to have faith. I want to be optimistic, but I got to be realistic here because I can't the team broke me these last 3 years. They have been bad, and I'm just I can't just be out here trusting, going blind into my trust anymore. I gotta look at my eyes now.
Okay, all right. So we're going under. Damn, this is very
So it's weird. I think they'll win 7 games, but I'd still go under just because the case of an injury and their schedule. I haven't really looked at it, but I just don't foresee them beating a lot of the good teams in the league with the weapons they got.
Cautiously optimistic, you think 7, maybe 8, maybe 9.
I think 7. I think it's gonna be a repeat of last year. 7 wins, and then hopefully they can try to steal a free agent wide receiver in this offseason upcoming, which I don't think they're going to be able to find somebody that they can overpay.
Okay. Well, let's say everything goes amazing and your team goes on a deep playoff run. Who do you think will be the players or position group most responsible for it?
If that happens, it's going to be. It has to be Bryce Young, right?
Besides quarterback, because you know quarterback has to be. Come on. Okay,
I was gonna say defense. The defense has to overperform. The defense has to be 2015 Bronco type good, or not even. The defense can be 2022 Bronco good, where they're just out here wreaking havoc, forcing turnovers. And if they can do that, then they'll be good. But I guess the position, it'll be J.C. Horn. If J.C. Horn can stay healthy and be that shutdown cornerback that Panthers Twitter always tells me he is because his numbers speak it. But when I watch him play, he's never guarded the other team's best receiver. And that's a lot to do with scheme because Steve Wilkes and didn't have him on the best receiver on the other team for some whatever reason. And then obviously him being hurt, he's not going to be playing against a lot of these top end cornerbacks. Like if he can have a Patrick Surtain like season where he's just like the top 5 cornerback hands down, then I think that'll be the main reason why, because then that'll allow other cornerbacks to not feel as pressured and allow hopefully somebody on the defensive line, other not named Brian Burns, to step up. But Brian Burns is a 10 to 12 sack year defensive end. That's all he is. He's not Nick Bosa, but he's also not like Yannick Ngakoue. So like he's just a nice, consistent player, but that's all he is. Just a consistent 10 to 12 sacks.
You don't think he can get up to that 15 plus?
He didn't get up there with Hassan Reddick, so ain't no way. And the only reason he got the extra sack this year is because he has an extra game.
Well, to be fair to him, who else is taking away attention? Like like on Niners, you have Armstead, right? You have Hargrave now. On the Eagles, you have Cox, Graham, you have Sweat. So Burns is probably facing a lot of double, triple teams, right?
No, I get you. The issue is, I believe that if he would have got like 14 sacks when Hassan Reddick was a Panther, cool. He got less sacks than Hassan Reddick did, and Hassan Reddick got 11. So like, if you have an elite pass rush on your edge and you're still only getting 9 sacks,
9 is pretty good. You acting like it's terrible. That'd be a lot of people's career high.
9 is not bad. Hassan Reddick this year at 16.
Oh, he's a beast. I think he deserves more.
I'm saying.
Okay. Well, I think Burns is still in that tier. I think even with the Hassan Reddick point you just made, maybe he was taking away double teams. Hassan Reddick was able to face some more single coverage. I'm just saying, you got to, Burns is elite. We both agree he's elite. I just think he gets to that
Burns is elite
sack area.
I just think there's like probably, I don't like what there's like 10 pass rushes you probably take before you get to Burns.
Maybe. I'd have to go through the list.
And that's no shade to Burns. It's just because there's better guys out there who are more consistent at getting to the. And I know sacks at everything, but like it's just something that you look at as a counting stat to be like, oh, he's actually getting to the quarterback and affecting like the outcome of stuff. But he would have to go off this season, but I don't see him doing that because he hasn't showed me anything in his past where he is that type of game-changing Julius Peppers type game wrecker.
Okay. All right, say less. Last question. Yeah. Before I let you go, man, give me your Super Bowl prediction for the upcoming NFL season.
Super Bowl prediction? You want like a spicy take, or you want just like
whatever you want? Whatever you want. It could be realistic and then a bold one. You can give me 2 different ones.
All right. Well, realistically, it's probably going to be Chiefs and Eagles or Chiefs and Niners. Okay. Like the Niners be healthy, if that's what we're going to talk about. But I really would love this season to be like the Ravens. Or maybe even the Dolphins, like somewhere over there. One of them 2 teams with those crazy, ridiculous offenses. Because they both have great defenses right now on paper. And their offenses, like, if everything works out, it's going to be crazy. I want to see what Todd Monken does with the passing game. That's going to be really, really fun to see. But Ravens, Eagles will be great. Dolphins, Eagles will be great. Just because that should be a fun game to watch. Obviously, Chiefs will be fun too, but just like seeing somebody different in there would be dope, especially with these young quarterbacks. So that's what I would like to see. I think the Ravens have a potential to do a lot this year. And then, so I think if I'm hoping for the best case scenario, Ravens versus, we'll just go with the Niners, just so we can get the Lamar Jackson dicing up that defense.
Damn. I don't like that. Hey, man.
But that's what makes sense to do.
Hey, thanks for coming by, man. We have to get you back on YouTube. He's going to be starting a Panthers channel. You want to talk about that? Go ahead, plug your whatever.
Yeah, so I don't really like doing Madden stuff anymore. If I can make a video about like why I don't enjoy making Madden content, and but that's like a 30-minute video itself. But I do want to come back to YouTube. I've been seeing a lot of people like start podcasts that talk about the Carolina Panthers and do all this stuff, and they're just I don't want to like throw names out there, but they're very boring, or they are just like film gurus that I just don't agree with their like perception of what they're seeing. And that sounds weird. Like I think I'm smarter than these people, but I'm just like, no, I just don't agree with the takes they have. So I am going to be more than likely, before the 2023 season starts, starting a Panther YouTube channel where I just basically hop on with some friends of mine and we just kind of talk about the games, give some previews, and just like give some good Panther content out there so we can kind of track this season, just because I wanted to do it for like the last 3 years when Matt Rule was the coach, but it was just hard to watch those games. But now that he's gone and we got a fresh start, this could be a nice time to get into it. So we get all my Bryce Young takes, you get all my defensive takes and all the stuff that people have grown to love about the stuff that I've been talking about for the past like 10 years when I was on YouTube.
Yes, sir. W. We love to see it. He's coming back. Make sure y'all follow his Twitter. I'll link it in the description so you can know when it's coming back. Thanks
Appreciate
for coming
that.
on, man. I appreciate you for hopping on. And yeah, well,
Anything for you, CK? Anything, man. I'm really. What's your Super Bowl prediction? Have you gotten to that yet? Have you talked about yours?
I haven't. I think I might save it for the last. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, I might save it for the last one. Or do the Eagles
Okay.
preview or something. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right, awesome. Make sure you guys watch all these videos. These are really fun to do. CK's a really good host, and I appreciate having me on, man. This was enjoyable.
Yep. Always, anytime. We're gonna have to revisit this during the season. We'll see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll come back mid-season review.
100%.